各位下午好，这里是中央电视台新闻频道，
Good
下午
afternoon,
4点，
everyone.
新闻直播间继续。
Now it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon on CCTV 13, and we're going to take you to Yangtze River. And in the morning session, we have taken you to have a view about this section of Yangtze River in Anhui section with 800 kilometers. Now we will go to Jiangsu Province together with the Yangtze River. When President Xi Jinping investigated the Hubei province, he said that we need to put top priority to the ecological development of Yangtze River with protection in the first place, with no destructive development and exploitation. Green development must be observed. And Yangtze River is like a belt crossing by about 8 provinces and municipalities. It seems quite serene here in the water, and also it has some intersection with Taihu Lake and the other water areas. And as we know, in the springtime, the ducks in the water will feel the warmth in the first place, and that was the most famous poem. And the Chunjiang water in the poem refers to Jiangsu section of Yangtze River. In Jiangsu Province, we have about 365 kilometers of Yangtze River. It is called the diamond section of Yangtze River, and also it is the most bustling and busiest section. And in our show today, we are gonna visit Jinhang Canal and the intersection of Tai Lake to have a sight about the view. As we know, Nanjing is the first stop for Changjiang River, Yangtze River to cross Jiangsu Province. If we take a bird view, we could see this bridge is called the Nanjing Yangtze Bridge, and it's the first one of its sort built by China alone. And now for this bridge with over 1 century of history, it's now under renovation, and the basics part of this renovation is already constructed. We believe that by the end of this year, it's going to be open to usage. In the eyes of many Nanjing natives, this bridge carries a lot of their memories, and also it is a landmark for many people beyond. And if we go along this way, we will enter Zhenjiang. In 2014, President Xi Jinping visited this place, asking more farmers to lead happy lives. No one will be left behind. Every household will be included in this drive towards prosperity. According to the instruction, now this Zhenjiang city is developing tourism based on ecology, while preserving the ecological landscape and boosting farmers' income. Changjiang, Yangtze River is crossing with Jinhang Canal in this place. This is the intersection point, and the canal is crossing with Yangtze River here. And we could see many ships are sailing along the river, and this is the busiest section of Yangtze River. And also we have built a transportation checkpoint here. For the ships crossing by the canal, they must cross this section, and with the transportation checkpoint, we could reduce accidents and also avoid any pollution to the river. Yangtze River has abundant water, and also the diversion project from south to north has one of the key points stationed here in Yangtze River. And now we're looking at one of the major diversion projects in Liaojiagou of Yangzhou City. To protect the water quality, the Jiangsu provincial government has pushed forward a campaign called the Yangtze River Corridor. And along the Huai River and Yangtze River, we're building such an ecological corridor. Now in Liaojiagou, we could see such a beautiful scenery, and this place is oriented to developing tourism based on environment friendliness, and the idea of treasuring our environment like our source of revenues is practiced here. In the springtime, the river is joining the sea, and we could enjoy the beautiful spring scenery in the noontime. And this is a famous poem by Tang Dynasty poet, and now we are looking at this region described in this poem. While time passes by, many things have changed, and Taizhou Bridge is spanning this river, and we could see the surrounding wetland. So our campaign of developing Yangtze River with no destructive exploitation could be practiced here. We could see now the ecological restoration is underway, and such a wetland park is already open. Now we're looking at the bridge. It's called Hutong High-Speed Rail Bridge. It's about 11.7 kilometers long, and it's also going to be the first of its kind with a length of over 1,000 meters. And we have delivered about 75% of the project. And for the entire bridge, we expect it to be finished by 2020. And after delivering the project, the railway from Shanghai will not need to cross by Nanjing, and also the time for such commuting will be less than 1 hour. President Xi Jinping convened an Yangtze River Economic Belt Conference, and he said that we need to strike a balance between ecological development and economic development. Green development and ecological development will be given top priority, and the key is to develop a harmonious relationship between the economic revenue and good environment. In Yangtze River, we have a Zhou Island, and the water depth is about 20 meters. It is the deep water construction site. To practice our campaign of protection with no destructive development, it has a new development direction. Now let's look at the situation here. Now I am standing on Tiehuangsha, and for Tiehuangsha, it's actually an island flooded by the Yangtze River. We could see the blue area. This is Yangtze River, and for such a triangular area, this is where I am standing. And I'm actually standing in this point. That's the closest place to Yangtze River. We sincerely hope that with our area view, we could have an overview about the landscape in Tiehuangsha. And at the height of 7,000 meters, it's already the utmost height of our bird view. But still, we can only see a tip of this river point. So it's quite a large area with about 10,000 mu. With such a large area, it enjoys a very good geographical location because, as we know, there are 10 ports in Yangtze River, and only 4 of the ports that has accommodation of about 150,000 tons of shipping. And this Tiehuangsha is one of the ports, and we could see such a shipping boat with about 180,000 tons of accommodation of carriage, and the local government hopes that it could build such a Tiehuangsha into a transportation and logistics hub. Under the campaign of protection with no destructive development, the local government gave away such a project and then reversed the trend to build this Tiehuangsha Island to be an ecological island. Let's look at the field, and we could see the excavators. Those machines are running on the field. They are actually laying a solid foundation for the soil improvement. For Tiehuangsha area, the soil looks like this. It's quite sandy. Those sands are brought by Yangtze River flood, and the lack nourishment. So if we want to build this island into an ecological island, we need a lot of plantation. So after such preparation work by the machines, we will sow the seeds, and then we will plant many crops in order to bring fertility to the land. With 3 years of time, we will renovate this land area, and in the future, Tiehuangsha Island will change its positioning. Now, this is the new positioning by the local government. In the next years, along the riverside, we will have some riverside scenery, Yangtze River scenery, and we will build many entertainment townships for tourism. We believe in the next 5 to 10 years, Tiehuangsha Island will be transformed from just a port in the past into an ecological island. Actually, in addition to Tiehuangsha, all of those sceneries along Yangtze River around this area is also changing. For example, above this river, they used to have a lot of illegal ships. The ships would just sail here along the river, and there are some hazards brought to the Yangtze River. For example, many of the goods on the ships may be poured into the river. That's a pollution in itself. And many of the garbages on a daily basis will also have a secondary pollution to the river. So to solve this pollution along the water area, we have started such a military-oriented management. We will have many checkpoints. It's just like the parking lot. We could see that along the riverside, many of the ships are actually anchoring in a line in an orderly way. So we have an orderly management and monitoring of those crossing ships. Also, every day we will have an environmental ship which will be responsible for gathering all of those garbages in those surrounding ships and taking those garbages to the land area for more treatment. In that way, we will minimize the garbage production. And with that procedure, we could guarantee the clear water in the Yangtze River. Actually, in Jiangsu Province, such practices for ecological development is abundant in cases. Before we broadcast this show, we have solicited many videos and clips from online users to see the changes along Yangtze River. Now let's look at the clips. Hello everyone, I come from Changzhou TV. My name is Kang Ke. Now, I am in Xinrong Ecological Forest. I am here today not to have an interview, but to show you the big forest along the way. This ecological forest is spanning from east to south with about 540 hectares. And this used to be a village and fish pond, but after government plan, the farmers have been relocated and the land left behind have been rebuilt into a green area, serving as the lung of the city. So you could see that this area looks like a spongy because it takes only about a quarter of an hour to arrive at this park from Yangtze River. Every year in the rainy season, it could collect and gather a lot of water to avoid the dry season. And behind me, this sponge is like a big park. Changzhou Ecological Park is the size of about 700 football venues. That's really astonishing. Now let's go to Wuxi. Hello, my name is Zhou Xiaoting. I am a Wuxi native, and I am standing in front of the Chengguangxi Wetland Park. I live in the surroundings of the park. In the recent years, we have reformed this riverbank. We have built many plantations along the banks, and we have strictly avoided the pollution into the river. Not just the local people are willing to take their walks along the riverbanks. You could see many of them are cycling for about 40 minutes to arrive at this park. In the past, whenever we talk about the tourist spots, we thought about Taihu Lake. Now, today I'm gonna give you a snapshot about this wetland as a replacement. I hope you could have a feel of this green land area. After looking at the clips from Wuxi and Changzhou, we're going to turn to a native from Zhenjiang at the age of 79. In the past, in the dock area, now we could see the dock area has been reformed into a scenery platform. And the pond in the past have been turned into a big park. Every day, we have many citizens walking and dancing in the plaza, and some of them are even practicing their swords. It's quite a bustling area, and it looks like a backyard of my home. And I am confident that I could live to 100 years in such a good environment. When President Xi Jinping investigated in Hubei, he said we need to set up some disciplines to reform those industries. While upholding the principle of ecological protection, we need to have scientific, orderly, and high-quality development. While Jiangsu is phasing out backward capacity and reforming the polluted industries, it is actually introducing many good plans for high-quality development and high-quality products. Now, in Taicang Port, we are gonna see the largest mining ship with a capacity of about 400,000 tons. It has just been commissioned. It is also the largest such ship along the Yangtze River, representing the highest level of our technology. Now let's listen to Li Xiao for more information about this big thing. Good afternoon, and if you look beyond me, it looks like I'm standing on a vast land. It's not a deserted land. I'm actually standing on the ship with the largest capacity. Also, it is independently developed by China with about 400,000 tons of capacity. And also is quite huge, as you can see. It's about 362 meters long, larger than Liaoning aircraft. Not long ago, this ship, after having been constructed, it has been tested for the first shipping and sailing. And in Tongzhou, we have done an aerial shot. And in this shot, we could see that from above the air, this ship looks like a moving island. And also around the ship, there are many smaller ships and boats. They look small, but actually, they are also already about 40 meters long. But it's just that when they're standing next to the big ship, it looks smaller. And those ships are sailing around the big ship in order to safeguard the safety of the ship. Now, it is sailing below Jiangyin Bridge. This bridge is quite big already, but when the ship is passing below the bridge, we could see the size of the ship. Of course, in addition to the size of the ship, there are many advanced technologies applied in the ship, for example, environment protection and energy conservation. The accommodation capacity of this ship is equal to about 166 carriages of the high-speed rail, and with a distance of about 27,000 kilometers, it needs no refilling. And also, it has very good resistance to the waves, with the highest wave at about 12 meters. And since Jiangsu is practicing the campaign of protection with no destructive exploration, we are seeing many applications of advanced technologies in such shipping technology. That's all. Thank you, Li Xiao, for giving us such an information about this giant ship. Now let's take our side back to the land area. While President Xi Jinping is investigating Hubei, he said that we need to be independent to improve our innovation capacity. And when President Xi Jinping visited the Jiangsu Province, he said that to develop real economy, we must have a good manufacturing basis, and it must be innovation-driven and driven by key technologies. Now let's listen to Xie Xuemi, a journalist from Jiangsu TV, to look at such a big machine with about 700 tons of weight. And it can only be manufactured by 4 countries in the world. And it has about 52 patents applied. Now, let's listen to Xie Xuemi. Now the floor is yours. Good afternoon. Now I am standing next to the excavator. It's in the test field of the excavator. And the excavator you're talking about is right after me. And together now, Yang Yufeng, the designer of the excavator, is standing next to me. And through such a lift, we are coming to the top of the giant machine. It's about 3 floors of the usual building, with about 9 meters high. Because of the height, we have taken many protection measures. And now let's look at the length of the machine. It's about 23.5 meters. It's the same length as the largest animal in the world. That is the big whale, blue whale. And today I'm going to introduce to you about the parts of this excavator. For example, the front part of the machine. And we could see that our colleagues are flooding out to enter this front area of this machine. With so many people standing in here, we could still see some empty space. Well, everyone is walking out. And when we count the heads of the people, it's about 100. Now let's show you the operation capacity of such a big machine with 700 tons. Our staff have already prepared 1,000 cubic meters of sands and earth. And we also have shipped 25 tons of excavator, which is the normal excavator, as a comparison to this giant machine. We hope that we could have a very stark comparison. Now let's give instructions to the big giant. Start uploading. Now this 700 tons of excavator starts working already. Such a comparison is quite obvious because the 25 tons of excavator has already started the operation, and we still could see the big one is operating quite fast, and also the increment of those sand in the 25 tons of normal excavator is not that big compared to the 700 tons of excavator, and it can fill such vehicles in a very quick speed. And then it's going to pour those sands into the vehicle. This process will be finished in about 30 to 40 seconds. And when the sands are falling down into the vehicles, the vehicle has given out a big alarm, and you could see that the vehicle is shaking because of the weight of the sand on top of it. So it takes about 30 times of such operation for the 700 tons of excavator to finish the entire loading procedure for the vehicles. So this would greatly improve our construction efficiency. Such an excavator is the largest one in China, and it applies about 52 patents with independent innovation. And since it's the largest in China, it's the first time for us to have independent development of such a giant machine. And we can have a very good division of labor with this machine. Anywhere you are applying this machine, as long as you have signal, you could monitor the operation of this machine wherever you are. As we said, we have applied about 52 independent patents in this machine. Which one of those patents is the most difficult one? The most difficult one is about the controlling of this excavator. We independently developed such an intelligent matching technology. With this technology, we could have intelligent and smart monitoring of this machine. I could say that without intelligent innovation, we don't have such a capacity to compete with our peers. When President Xi visited our factory, he said we need to practice independent innovation, and under the instruction, we have been insistent on independent innovation in the hope that on behalf of China, we could surmount the top of the manufacturing sector in the world. With the different excavators, like 300, 400, 500, and 700 tons of capacity, we are moving and marching forward with different breakthroughs made. Now, that's all for my introduction. Thank you, Xie Xueming, for your information. We have taken a view of about 2 giant machines, and later we're going to bring you more new information. Now let's have some snapshot about smaller sized machines. In Jiangsu, there are many illegal plantation and fishing. For example, Yangtze Lake has been the birthplace of many crabs. And now when we are renovating this area, the fishermen are carrying out higher quality nourishment and cultivation of the crabs. And now around Suzhou area, they are already dismantling those illegal cultivation. Now, our journalist is in Suzhou. We are going to have an idea about how to cultivate those high-quality crabs and what is the progress made in Taihu Lake. Now, the time is yours. Good afternoon. Now I am in Suzhou. In Taihu Lake, they are carrying out the dismantling of those illegal cultivation with encircling. You could see those squares. Those are actually cultivation areas. And that is the last part of Taihu Lake for such encircled cultivation. And in those years, our campaign to dismantle those illegal cultivation has been underway orderly. Let's look at the first photo. This photo was the peak time of such encircled cultivation. The blue area is the area for cultivation with encircled webs. It was as large as about 240,000 mu. And the second photo is the current situation with only about 45,000 mu of such area of encircled cultivation. And also, we are sending out notices to the local fishermen for more clarification and to get their understanding. And according to the plan, by June next year, we're going to complete such a dismantling job of Taihu Lake encircled cultivation. And by that, it means the traditional cultivation method will be just history. And as we know, Taihu Lake is connected with Yangtze River and many other waterways. So the Taihu Lake protection will be critical for the Yangtze River protection, in particular the midstream and downstream. And after such a project, the local people will do some ecological restoration work. Many people are concerned. Now, will this project hamper the production of crabs? Will there be any change to the market price of those crabs? And what will happen to the local fishermen? You don't have to worry about those questions, actually, because along the areas of Taihu Lake, everyone is promoting the ecology-based reform, and Yangtze Lake is one of the examples. Now I am standing by this pond of Yangtze Lake. According to the aerial view, we could see that on the left side, it's Yangtze Lake of Suzhou, and on the opposite of the Yangtze Lake is the current pond for cultivating crabs. In the past, everyone is encircling Yangtze Lake for crab cultivation, but now we could see that in the lake, we could not see any trace of such cultivation because our fishermen have taken the crabs of Yangtze Lake to the banks of the river and the ponds. And what is the benefit of such ecology-based cultivation? Firstly, since we actually have a very natural cultivation environment on a regular basis, we will test the water quality. In the past, such an extensive cultivation method will see a lot of seeds and pollution to the water. For example, the large number of crabs cultivated in the same area will be a pollution because of the feces into the lake. But now we have built the pond especially for the crab cultivation. It will serve like a purification pond. What does it look like? Now I am holding a smaller sample of such a water. For example, there are many plantations in the water. For example, the algae and the other microorganisms. So with those snails and plantations like algae, there will be a good improvement to the ecology in the water. And also the crabs cultivated in such a pond will be improved in terms of their sizes and their production volume. For example, now I am holding the smaller crabs with only 2 months old. In the past, each time they will cultivate 1,200 crabs and only 600 will survive. So that's about half of survival rate. But now the survival rate have been improved by 80%. Every 800 crabs will see 600 surviving. And also their sizes will be bigger. Last year, for the weight of 6 liang and 4 liang, their production reaches about 40% of the total. And for every moon of such cultivation, they will enjoy higher yield and revenues. So we hope that in the autumn time of this year, you could pay your visits to Yangtze Lake to have a taste about the crabs cultivated in such an ecological way. That's all for my introduction. Thank you, Zhao Xianan, for your introduction. Now, as long as the yield of crabs will not be declining, then we are rest assured. And just now, Ms. Zhao has briefed us on the Taihu Lake encircled cultivation. Not just Taihu Lake, actually. In Jiangsu and the Taihu River area, we are seeing such ecological practice. And also, we are going to have a consideration of the local farmers' life. That's why the Jiangsu government is taking measures to encourage the farmers to go to the land area for more revenue sources. In the past, they live on the ships, and now, to protect the fishery resources in the area, we are encouraging the farmers to change their lifestyle and say goodbye to their life on the water. Our generations and ancestors have been fishermen. Since we are young, we have been sailing on the water. And we live on the water as well. There used to be no houses along the banks of the water. When I was young, I would follow my grandparents and my parents and my relatives, and I joined them in fishing. In the stormy weather, I felt like there was no roof above my head, and I felt terrified. Actually, for our generation, we could see fewer fishermen. For the next generation, if we fish more, then the next generation could not even enjoy such a good environment and good fishes. When I was in school, I followed my relatives and lived in a small house. And my parents are aging. I just hope that they could have a stable house. The third floor is okay. I'm quite satisfied with the arrangement. Now we are finally saying goodbye to the life on water. We have been expecting this for years. Everyone is talking about protecting ecology of Yangtze River. For my parents, they might not understand this, but they are really responding to the instructions of the nation. During the banning season of the fishing practice, we will not fish. We hope that our children could enjoy a better ecological environment. Later, we could proudly say that with better ecology along the Yangtze River, that is partly because of our fishermen. Now, this is about the end of today's show. Tomorrow morning, we are gonna take you to Zhejiang Province. Along the Yangtze River, Zhejiang is quite special. The branches of Yangtze River do not cross by Zhejiang Province, but actually we have to talk about Yangtze River because for Yangtze River Delta area, the southern China could see Zhejiang as an integral part. And in Zhejiang Province, we could see how it connects Yangtze River with the big ocean. And how can Zhejiang strike a balance between the maritime protection and economic development? Let's follow the show tomorrow.